For this portion of the project, we want to be able to take the artboard for Big Ol' Bacon and be able to click on the What's in It button and to see what's inside of the hamburger we've selected. It'll have a picture and lots of different information. And we want this information to look like it's on top of the current screen that we're on. So in order to do this, I'm going to choose my selection tool, black arrow, and make sure you're working in design mode. Hold down Option as you click and drag and make a copy of the Big Ol' Bacon artboard. I'm simply going to recall this What's in It for now. Since we don't want to disrupt anything that's already on here, I'm going to select everything by clicking and dragging over it, then go up to Object and let's lock everything down. This way everything will stay in place and it's difficult to select it and make any changes. Now, in order to make it look like there's another plane or there's an area that I can put text on top of this, we want to be able to darken and blur everything that's on this artboard. To do that, I'm going to choose my rectangle tool and I'm going to simply make a rectangle on top of the entire artboard. With it still selected, go over to your options and set the fill color to be a solid black. To be able to see below it, however, go down to the bottom and turn on background blur. You can see it gives it this nice blurred out effect, and we're going to set the blurring amount down to about 15 pixels, set the brightness down to 0, and set the opacity up to about 60%. This way it looks good and dark and gives us the ability to place things on top of it without actually interfering with the text and pictures that are below it as well. While I've got this done, let's go also up to Object and lock it down so we don't accidentally move it and we can deselect it. All of the information for this section is going to be found in folder number 4 with the What's in It. I've got a picture of all of the different parts, so let's go ahead and place this in here too. Go up to File and Import, locate folder number 4, What's in It section, and choose the burger parts PNG. Again, you may have to scale this down so that it fits nicely off to the left-hand side. That looks pretty good right there. At the top, let's add the name of the burger. So grab your type tool and type in Big Ol' Bacon. We want this to be in the same font that we used before, so I'm going to set my font to be Afternight. And again, I can set my font color to be something that matches nicely with the logo that we used before. We'll scale it up, move it over, and reposition things. In this area is where we want to have all of the different information. The information can be found on the toppings text file that I give to you. And you can see there's different kinds of toppings. Each has a title and some information with it. I'm going to copy over one of the titles, for in this case for fresh buns. We'll copy that. Let's place it in here too. And I'm going to use Futura as my title for this. In this case, maybe I'll set it to be bold and we'll move it into place. Next, let's get the text to go along with it. So I'll copy this from my text file. Command C, jump in. If you want your text to stay within a specific area, you can click and drag and create a text box and paste it, and it will stay inside of that area. Since we're here, let's set this to be a readable font. That's going to be a little bit smaller. Let's maybe set it down to 20. And we'll do it as a different color. Whatever style that fits best for you. The final thing we want to do, once we've got fresh buns set up, is we want to be able to create a new, different artboard for each one of these. Also, while it's on this, we want it to point to the different things that it's talking about. In this case, it's talking about the hamburger bun. So I'm going to use my pen tool. With it selected, we'll click and draw a line to where we're pointing to. Now with it still selected, we can set our border color to be nice and noticeable. So let's do a bright orange and set the size of the border to be large enough so that it's noticeable as well. So I'm going to set that to be right about there, about 8 pixels or so. Now we can make a copy of each of the different parts in order to place this. We need to have 6 more different artboards. So with my black arrow selection tool selected, we've got fresh buns, make a copy of it 6 more times. We can go back up to the top. As you work through each of these, I encourage you to change the name of the artboard to match what you're talking about. In this case, it'll be Fresh Buns. We can scroll down to the next one, and let's have a look at our text page. We'll move it over to the side. Next will be the red onions, so I'll copy that, come into here and paste it, and then copy the text. Go in here and paste it into here too. And then finally I can use my move tool to either select and deselect my little line. And let's use my pen tool to draw another line down to what we're talking about here. So in this case it's talking about the red onions. Just make sure your line looks exactly the same for each one. So I'll set that to be the orange. And the size of it I think was 8 point for there. So take some time and go through and copy and paste all of the information for each of the different artboards. Make sure you're also changing the name of the artboard as you work on it. Now with all of the artboards done, we need to be able to connect buttons for each of the different ingredients to all of the different pages, just like we did with all of the different hamburgers. However, I'm going to show you an easier way to quickly make one button and simply copy it over for all of your artboards. To do this, let's go up to the very top one and let's do it for our lettuce first. With this done, choose your circle tool, and I'm simply going to create a rounded circle over the lettuce that's here. Now, I don't want to be able to see this rounded circle. I simply want there to be a button on top of it. So I'm going to go over to my Appearance panel and simply drop the opacity of it down to 0. With it selected, I can go into Prototype mode, and from here I can go ahead and link this up to my lettuce artboard. Automatically it's created and placed on this particular page. With it still selected, I can go up to Edit and Copy and make a copy of this button. Now all I have to do is to go to my next artboard and do Edit and Paste, and it'll paste a copy of it onto here. Even though I can't see it, I can still click on it and drag it into place so that I can place it right where it needs to be. If you need help being able to see it, maybe you can bring up your opacity. But this is a much quicker way of completely linking up all of the pages that you need. In this case, you can see it's still linking from this page back to lettuce. Let's do the same for this page now. Paste it on there, Command V, and then place it right on top of there. So I'm going to repeat this process for each of the different parts of my hamburger by making a button and pasting it onto the correct one. In this case, I'm on the lettuce page, so it doesn't need a button, so I'm going to skip over that one. Go to here, and then place it on top of here. So take your time, make a button for each individual part of the ingredients, and then once you're finished, you can go through and test this out as well. Now that I've linked up all of the different elements for our ingredients page and what's in the hamburger, I need to create one more link between the Big Ol' Bacon artboard to the Fresh Buns page so that I can enter into this mode. To do that, let's go to our Big Ol' Bacon artboard and choose the words what's in it. We want to click this button and go to the Fresh Buns page. All we've got to do is to click on the arrow and link it over to Fresh Buns. Do make sure your interaction trigger is set to tap and that it is going to the destination of Fresh Buns with the dissolve animation. From here, we can test it out by clicking on that Big Ol' Bacon artboard, and let's go to choose test. Now I can click on what's in it, and I should be able to click on the different parts and be able to jump through from here. Now take your time and test out each of the little different buttons. Since we're copying and pasting a lot of things, sometimes you may make a mistake. This is why we want to be able to test it as we move forward. For instance, from here, if I was to click on my onions, I see it's actually going to my savory bacon page. And so this is where I would need to go back in to each one and make sure that each of the links is working properly. The last thing that we need to do is to add one more button to all of the pages that takes us back to our Big Ol' Bacon artboard. To do this, let's make it simple. I'm going to go ahead and choose the What's in It button that we've already created from a different page. In this case, I'll get it from here, select both the text and the button itself. We'll go up to Edit and Copy. Let's go up to our Fresh Buns page. We'll go up to Edit and Paste and place it on top of here. We want this word to simply say got it. So, whoops, excuse me. Let's double click on it. Got it. Then with this, we can click on the little link for that and have it transition on tap back to the Big Ol' Bacon page. Now, we want to place this in the exact same spot for each of our artboards. If I was to simply select both the text and the little rounded rectangle, I can go up to Edit and Copy. But as you may have found out, if I go up to Edit and Paste, it's going to paste it in the center of my screen, and I want to make sure it's in the exact same spot. Well, in order to do this, let's back all the way out and carefully click on the name of each of your artboards. In this case, I'm going to select the name for red onion, savory bacon, lettuce, tomatoes. All of these different artboards are now selected. With all of those selected, when you go up to Edit and Paste, this will paste the same thing automatically on all of the different artboards that are automatically there. However, there is a small glitch, and you may see it right here. Notice that it worked well for these first couple of them, but it didn't work well for here. Well, that's simply because I couldn't see all of my artboards. I wasn't backed out far enough. So let me undo what I just did. Back all the way out so you can see all of your artboards, and now when I go to paste, it should paste it right in the same spot. That's a known error or known glitch, but that's how to be able to solve it. Now when I go to test my Big Ol' Bacon and see what's in it, I should be able to click through a couple of things and then click on Got It, and it will take me back to this particular page as well.